Okay, and as you already saw in this Twitter feed where I asked for questions about you, that there are people who are worried that if they have a great idea, it can get stolen by someone. And you were really passionate about this topic. You told me because you think that ideas are actually not that valuable. The execution is more important, right? So do you want to say a bit more about this?
Yeah, sure. I really just wanted to answer it because I know that people think this a lot, and I've been to, when I used to go to meetups, at least prior to COVID, you talk to, I'm a developer. I would go to a meetup and I'd meet a founder of a company who's got an idea, and they don't want to tell me. They want to ask me how much will it cost to build my app, but I can't tell you what my app is because you might steal my idea. And I always thought this was crazy, right? Because ideas are not like everybody has ideas, right? I just throw out one right now. Like, I don't know the logistics of it, but somebody at some point is going to build an SDK so that you can do something with crypto in your app, right? I'm not worried that somebody's going to steal that idea because one, I'm not going to make it. But two, if I was going to make it, like, it's not about the idea. It's about what can you do with it. It's about the execution. I've come up with an idea for an app. I could tell everybody, I could tell 100 people, none of them are going to make it. Even if one of them tries to make it, like, that doesn't mean that they're going to succeed because they don't have the rest of the skills to be able to put it out there and to get users using it and to maintain the app and all these kind of things. So I think in terms of ideas, like, I don't know, I just find it crazy. I know people that will never do anything with an idea but will hold on to that idea and not tell anybody because they're afraid it will be stolen. And you have, Uber comes out and there's all these people saying, oh, I was probably one of them. I had this idea 6 years ago and I probably did, but I wasn't going to do anything with it. And if I did, I probably was not going to get to the success that Uber did. So it really has nothing to do with the idea because otherwise it would be like there'd be no Lyft because Uber exists and Lyft is exactly the same thing. So how could that succeed? Because they've just stolen Uber's idea. So no, that's kind of where I stand on that. But I just wanted to answer it because I know there's a lot of people out here that have got ideas for apps and they might want help or they might want coaching and they don't want to tell anybody their idea because they're afraid they're going to steal it, and nobody is going to steal your idea.
Yeah, so you don't think if I had no idea about programming and I would want to hire someone to build the app idea I have, should I have an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with them, or should I just not bother with this?
I mean, I guess it depends, right? There's no harming having it. So sure, make them sign the NDA. They're going to sign it anyways. And then, you can tell them your idea after that and feel comfortable that legally, if they steal your idea, you could sue them, assuming that you have the money to sue them because they stole your idea and it took off and now you can't actually afford to fight them in court. So, but realistically, yeah, have an NDA. You can print one off online, send it to them, they sign it, legally it's done. But in terms of practicality, like, no developer is going to steal your idea unless, and like, I can imagine if you have an idea, right? Somebody came to me, I mean, I wouldn't steal an idea, but let's say somebody came to me with the simplest idea in the world and I knew I could do the whole thing myself and market it and everything, and I was going to steal it, then, you lost out. But the odds of that happening are like astronomical. And also, do I want to spend that time and effort in this idea that I'm not invested in? You're invested, it's your idea. I'm just a developer. I would rather just get paid to build the thing. And if you succeed, that's great. And if you don't succeed, I got paid. So,
Yeah, when I did a little bit of freelance work, I had to sign some NDAs, and I always found it a bit annoying to do that because you have to read them very carefully to not shoot yourself in the foot.
yeah.
Because there can be some traps in there, I think, that you basically can never again work on a similar app or stuff like that. I don't know if that would hold up in court, probably not.
They usually have clauses where you can't work for a competitor at the same time and you can't work for a competitor. And normally it's like, within 6 months or something like that. Which, I suppose, I think it's the same thing. People are afraid that you're going to go and work for a company that does the exact same thing and tell them everything that your business does. But, I had a thing the other day. So a company that I'm working with sent me wireframes, right? Which were literally A4 piece of paper in a pencil. They had drawn some pictures of what they want these new features to look like. And before they would send it to me, they made me send them an email saying that I promised not to share it with anybody else. And in my head, I'm like, mate, no, like, I'm not going to take your pencil drawings and make $1 million idea out of this. Like, this is just, they're just boxes with little images on them. But they're so afraid that somebody's going to steal their, quote unquote idea.
Yeah. So it's all about the execution and not so much about
100%.
the idea. I don't think I have any genius idea where I would think that no one else had this. And yeah, as you already said, something like Uber, this is also a relatively simple idea,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to be a genius to
They were
come
not
up
the
with
first
that.
people that had that idea, but they were the ones that executed it the best.
Yeah, and all the other stuff too, like Amazon. It's not genius to come up with an online warehouse, but they just execute it differently.
100%.
Yeah, and sometimes people come first with an idea and they build it, but there's still the second one or the third one succeeds for whatever reason. They did it better, apparently, in some way.
I think there's a lot of companies like that, right? Where you know them now, it's like Amazon, but initially Amazon, I think it just sold books. That's all they sold was books on the internet. And now they're this whole other thing because they pivoted and they decided we're going to do this, and that's how it worked out. And now they have Amazon Prime and video and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think in terms of that, if somebody's listening, they primarily want to build an app to make money. The first thing you want to do is just get started and build something. And, if it doesn't work out, you pivot or you build something else and you figure it out. But, you're not going to come up with, it's very unlikely. I don't want to say you're not because it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that your idea is $1 million idea and your execution is perfect and it plays out exactly like you think it will in your head. So,
yeah, actually heard on a podcast recently that almost all successful companies pivoted at some time.
Yeah.
Like Facebook was not meant to be a general social platform, right? It was meant for these Harvard students or whatever university that was. Only Google is an example of a company that stick to the original plan that they had, where they exactly knew what they want to do, and this is what they actually did then.
Yeah. But then at the same time, if Google didn't have all of their other services, they would probably make zero money because they make so much money through ads, through everything else that they do. If it was just search and they hadn't added stuff onto it, then it probably wouldn't be very lucrative.